You know that tight, anxious feeling you get when you think about money? It's incredibly common. But what if that feeling isn't actually your fault? In this explainer, we're going to look at financial stress from a totally different angle, one that might just change the way you see your entire financial life.
So this is the big question, right? For so long, the story we've been told is pretty clear. If you're stressed about money, the problem, well, it's you. And the reasons they give are always the same.
You hear it constantly. If you just tracked every single penny, all that pressure would just, poof, disappear. It's a discipline problem, right?
Or, hey, maybe it's an effort problem. The solution is simple. Just hustle more, pick up another gig, grind harder.
And of course, the planning problem. You must have failed to look far enough ahead to save more to predict every little thing that could go wrong. But what if these assumptions are missing the bigger picture completely?
I mean, think about it. When a problem is this widespread, when it's affecting millions of smart, dedicated, hardworking people all at once, it stops being about individual mistakes. The real explanation is almost certainly baked into the design of the system itself.
So first, let's talk about the advice we all know. We're going to look at how it can actually set up this trap, a trap that turns financial pressure into something way heavier: shame.
Okay, so here it is, the standard playbook we're all handed. Build a buffer, invest, stay away from debt, make more, spend less. And what's wild is that none of this advice is bad. In fact, on its own, it's all perfectly sensible stuff.
But here's the catch. This playbook creates this really powerful and honestly often damaging internal story. It implies that if you follow all the rules and you still feel stressed, well, there's only one possible conclusion. You messed up. You failed to execute the plan correctly.
And that is where the burden becomes personal. It's no longer just some external problem with numbers on a spreadsheet. It becomes this deep internal feeling of failure. It becomes shame. And this whole way of thinking ignores the most important variable in the entire equation.
What if the environment we're all playing in, the game itself, is the real issue here? You know, our personal choices always interact with the structure of that game. And more often than not, it's the structure that really drives the outcome.
So let's pull back the curtain and actually look at these invisible forces at play. We're going to break down 4 specific systemic pressures that really define the modern economy.
These 4 forces, having volatile income, the constant squeeze of inflation, the shift of financial risk onto our shoulders, and the crazy high cost of just participating in society, these are working in the background, shaping our entire financial reality, whether we realize it or not. Okay, first up, income volatility. For so many people, income just isn't that steady, predictable paycheck anymore. It's based on gigs, on contracts, on commissions. It's all over the place. But on the other side, our biggest expenses, rent, mortgage, insurance, are perfectly predictable. They are fixed, they are rigid, and they are almost always going up. This mismatch, it creates chronic stress by design. Next, that inflationary squeeze. You know that feeling of working harder and harder just to stay in the exact same place? Well, it's not in your head, it's just math. When the costs for essentials like housing, healthcare, and education rise faster than your pay, you are literally losing ground. Your purchasing power is just quietly eroding day by day.
This brings us to the third big pressure, what's called the Great Risk Shift. A few generations ago, big institutions, like your employer or the government, they shouldered more of the big financial risks. Pensions were common, for example. Fast forward to today, and that risk has been shifted almost entirely onto us, the individuals. Retirement, healthcare, job security, it's all on you now. And finally, there's the incredibly high cost of just participating in the modern economy. And let's be clear, these are not luxuries. To get a good job, you often need to live near one, have reliable internet, a car, insurance, and increasingly a really expensive degree. These high, non-negotiable costs leave an incredibly thin margin for error. So what happens when you put all of this together? This brings us to the absolute core of the issue. While your best efforts, your hardest work, can still feel like it's just not enough. I want you to imagine someone who does everything right. I mean, they budget meticulously, they live below their means, they invest consistently, they avoid credit card debt like the plague. They're the poster child for personal responsibility. Even that person is not immune, not even close. They still face these massive, systemic risks that are completely outside of their control. A housing market that prices them out, the constant threat of a layoff, a stock market downturn that vaporizes their savings, or one single major health issue.
And that's really the key takeaway here. Your personal discipline is incredibly important. It matters. It acts as a buffer. It absolutely reduces your vulnerability. But, and this is a big but, it can never be a force field. It can never fully insulate you from these larger, macro-level forces. You can be doing everything right and still be navigating a fundamentally unstable system. Understanding all this isn't an excuse to just give up. No way. It's actually the key to shifting our focus, to moving away from blaming ourselves and toward a much smarter, more effective strategy for navigating the world as it actually is.
Okay, this right here is the crucial mindset shift. We need to stop asking ourselves, how can I be more disciplined, and start asking, how can I design a financial structure for my life that's resilient to shock? It's a huge change, moving from a focus on personal perfection to a focus on sound design.
So what does this actually look like in practice? Well, it means things like lowering your fixed costs to create more breathing room. It means building up larger cash buffers for when things go wrong. It means diversifying where your income comes from and building skills you can take anywhere. The goal isn't just optimization anymore. The goal is resilience.
So let's end with this core idea because it is so important. If you feel financial stress despite doing everything you can, you are not failing. You are navigating a complex system that, frankly, was never designed to feel stable for the individual. Recognizing this doesn't take away your power. It just reframes the challenge from a personal flaw to a strategic one. It replaces shame with clarity. And that clarity, that is the first step toward building a truly resilient life.
All sources and references for this video are listed in the description below. This video is for educational purposes only and does not constitute financial advice. Please consult a licensed professional for your specific situation.